To the, one of the misconceptions of a man is like, we don't feel nothing. We have no feelings. We don't get sad. We only get angry and angry. You know what I mean?
So special.
My upbringing shaped me to be the man I am today. I grew up in a house with two women, mom and grandma. So I would say that I was more introduced to the softer side of things, I guess you could say. But I hung out with a lot of older kids. So with them being teenagers, where I was 6 or 7, it put me in a position to where I was exposed to more than probably most 6 or 7-year-olds were. But it also helped me mature faster than some would as well. Just because they were talking about things that I'm talking about cooties and they talking about other stuff, And so, being around them, having my mom and my grandma, they both worked hard, so I understood what hard work was. My grandfather was a presence, a good deal when I was younger. So it was, I think just having exposure to different facets, from like an older man to older teenagers to what women, because basically my mom raised me to be the man that she wanted, in a sense, so, be a gentleman, pull out tables, open doors, that type of thing. So having that piece and being exposed to that as well, and then just my own experiences as a child growing up is really what helped shape me.
And my experience growing up, the things that shaped me, I came from a large family. There were 7 of us in the household, 4 girls, 3 boys, and it taught me the value of family. Talk to me about core values, things that are important to our community. But on the same token, I was also raised in the street a lot. The guys on the corner, older guys in the neighborhood like yourself. And then I had an older brother who taught me responsibility. He pushed the lawnmower, I carried the gas can. So he taught me the responsibility, how to make money, how to be responsible with my money, and things like that. As far as the softer side that you were talking about, I saw both sides. I saw the softer sides with my sisters. I saw the rugged side with my brothers. So it kind of balanced me out. And I think that's what made me who I am now. I think when I hear the word man, I think about example. Not just an example to my family, but an example to my community. Because as a man, when you talk about the fathering part of it, yeah, you father your children, but you also father their friends.
Yeah.
You father the people in the community, because when we grew up, we had people that would take us to the park, teach us how to play baseball, things like that. The things that are missing now.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about a man, yeah, he does all those things that you were talking about, but he has to be the example for not only, when you look at it, he's not only the example for the boys in his family, but also to all the women in his family.
Yeah.
Think about like the conversations we have here.
Yeah.
When we sit down and people make comments about our relationship.
Right.
And the same thing with me and your sisters.
Right.
So I think a man has to be more than just present in his house. He has to be present throughout the entire community.
For me, it's a man takes care of his business, takes care of his family, and he does what he needs to lead his family. And when you talk about lead, it's not just barking orders or anything like that, but somebody that sets the culture and the environment for that family, and make sure that, for me, like I'm married, so make sure I'm partnering with my wife, but executing the plan for whatever we're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. I think a lot of times people, when they think about men, it's like, all right, well, a provider. It's like, yeah, that's true, because if you don't work, you don't eat. But at the same time, man, it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
I have a son and a daughter, and my presence impacts them differently. When I think about my relationship with my daughter, I think about that she's gonna pattern her relationship with a man when she gets older based on the type of relationship she has with me.
Absolutely.
When I think about my son, I think about who he's going to become based off of the man that I am. So it's crucial that I do everything possible to make sure that the culture is set properly in my home, and I'm teaching them the right things and walking what I taught, because it's so much bigger than just what I do day in and day out for myself. It's everything I do for them as well.
Okay, when we say that, I'm gonna talk about black men in particular.
Okay.
That we're lazy, that we can't be counted on, and that we are bad parents, which all of those are false. You can see here.
Yeah.
This relationship, I'm a black man, and I have a great relationship with my son, and he has a great relationship with his.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they think all black men. I hear this so much from even some of our women. Black men are dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and all of this nonsense, because that's what it is. But you can't put every man in the same little bowl. I think that's the greatest misconception about black men, that we're incapable of having relationships, don't take care of our children, and we're lazy.
And so, like, for me, I think that I view it twofold, in a sense, to where the old school depiction of what a man is like somebody that got up every day, worked all the time, made sure food was on the table, disciplinary to the kids, that type of thing. But what lacked because of that, men that played in that role, were the lack of presence.
Yeah.
Like, he was providing and taking care of the family, but like, how much of an influence did he really have outside of that on his household or the community or beyond, like you were saying? Because they just weren't around. It's like, man, I gotta, I gotta get it. I gotta make sure that my kids and my family don't have to worry for anything. Well, yeah, that's cool, and you taking care of one facet of it, but I'm pretty sure they would appreciate if you were home more. So like, that's one facet of it. But then the other facet, like you were talking about, where they feel like men, especially black men, are just lazy and want to be taken care of. And, not trying to, but rather either look like they're playing the part or accept minimal responsibility for being the man they're supposed to be.
Right.
So I think it's twofold. I think you got to have a balance and try to blend the two, because you got to work. You got to take care of your family, but at the same time, you got to make sure that you are available, in a sense. And so I think that's where a lot of men struggle. Is like, man, either you gonna get one or the other. Like, now, you got to find a way to hone in both.
Yeah, like, pay the bills but come to a game.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The advice I would give a young man, if I'm trying to influence him into being the type of man that should be, that it's a lot of times that you're gonna be in situations where you feel like this world is not fair, and it's gonna be a lot of times where you feel like you got the short end of the stick. just understand that, like, it's like we were built to shoulder a lot of the responsibilities that are given to us. Don't let that discourage you from being the best self that you can be, because a lot of people depend on you to be who you need to be. And if you falter at the slightest adversity, then you're not only letting yourself down, you let much more people down, many more people down. So that would be my advice.
And just to piggyback off what you just said, you gotta take care of all of those things, but don't lose you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because those people, they need you to be you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, people will say, stop acting like that, act like a man. But how can I act like what I've never seen?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I only see a man every now and then I really don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
So I think I would tell them, basically be you. Be you, be the responsible you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, especially when you get my age, you look back and you say, if I knew then what I know now, well, okay, it's our responsibility to tell them what we know now. So, they won't have to go through those hurdles.
Yeah.
So I think just giving life experiences and being understanding, that a kid is going to be a kid, but at the same time, help them to go through those hurdles to become a man.
And another thing I would say, don't be afraid to feel.
Yeah.
A lot of like we've taught, like, you can't feel it. You can't cry as a man. You can't feel sadness. None of that. Like, we still deal with the same emotions as everybody else, man. Don't be afraid to feel.
Yeah.
Nah, it's your responsibility how long you stay in that moment. But like, just because you feel something, like, don't feel bad about feeling. Because that's, I think, kind of going back to the, one of the misconceptions of a man is like, we don't feel nothing. We have no feelings. We don't get sad. We only get angry and angry. You know what I mean? We get angry and angry. That's what, how we were trained, man. But you feel something, don't be afraid to feel. Don't do that.
Made me think about something. I used to work in corrections.
Yeah.
I just retired. But when I first started, there was this kid that was just outraged. He was violent, all of this stuff. So one night they were getting ready to go to bed. I'm walking down the hall, and I said, "Good night, gentlemen." And he was like, "Don't say no good night. You don't say no good night. Why you say that?" I said, "A father always tell his sons good night." He said, "Oh, okay, good night, Mr. Raspberry."
Oh, wow.
Nobody had ever done that with me before.
Yeah. Simple things, man.
Simple things.